Hello. Welcome to the Airport Safety Channel. I am your host, Isaac Otu, and it is a privilege to have you for today's presentation. How well do you know your airport facility? We are still treating various physical characteristics of the airport facility. Our main reference is the Annex 14, Volume 1, Aerodromes, 9th edition, and other CAA and airport documentation. Currently, we are learning about taxiway minimum separation distances. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you have not subscribed already. Also, click the bell, like and share with friends and colleagues to also learn on this platform. Previously, we looked at taxiway width and we focused on straight portions and also curved portions of the taxiway. We looked at the factors that contribute to determining the minimum taxiway width. If you have not watched our previous video, click on the link above or subscribe to watch. Today's presentation is focused on taxiway minimum separation distances. Now, this is the minimum distance between the center line of a taxiway and another facility, such as a runway center line or a parallel taxiway center line or an object. These distances should not be less than the specified dimensions required to achieve operational safety. The ultimate aim of separation distances between taxiways and adjacent facilities like runways, taxiways, buildings, vehicles, aircrafts is to facilitate safety. Assuming an aircraft sways from the center line of a taxiway, there should be sufficient safety separation between that aircraft and any other aircraft or object, may be an airport facility that is adjacent to the operational area. These separation distances has been standardized in the Annex 14 and usually adopted by CAAs for airports to implement. However, at an existing aerodrome, it might be permissible to operate with smaller separation distances if an aeronautical study determines that such reduced distances would not compromise safety or significantly impact operations. There are different types of taxiway separations required depending on the surrounding environment. We have taxiway to runway minimum separation distances. This is the distance between the taxiway center line to the runway center line. The dimensions depends on the type of runway which is parallel to the taxiway. That is, if the runway is an instrument runway or if it is not, then the dimensions vary accordingly. Also, we have taxiway center line to taxiway center line minimum separation distances. We will look at this as we go along. We also have taxiway except stand taxi lane to object minimum separation distances. That is the distance between the center line of the taxiway to the nearest object, which could be an airport facility, a vehicle, or even a building next to the taxiway. We also have aircraft stand to aircraft stand taxi lane minimum separation distances. That is when we have taxi lanes on the apron. If you have challenges with what the taxi lane is, watch the previous videos. We also have aircraft stand taxi lane to object separation. Aircraft stand taxi lane to object minimum separations, so that the taxi lane on the apron may also have objects in its environment and there should be minimum separations between the taxi lane and these objects. We will look at this as we go along in our presentations. As previously mentioned, Annex 14 has outlined the minimum separation distances required for all situations. However, when applying these standards, one must know the code letter of the critical aircraft, that is code A, B, C, D, or E. Also, the code number of runways is required for runway separation distances. If you have a challenge with the codes, refer to my video lecture 7. The code of an aircraft on taxiways gives a clue on the maximum wingspan of the aircraft. Remember that the main aim of taxiway separation is to provide enough space to accommodate the aircraft wingspan. Also, the minimum separation distances provided by Annex 14 is broken down into the various categories that we just looked at. That is taxiway center line to runway center line, taxiway center line to another taxiway center line, or to objects, or aircraft stand taxi lane to another aircraft stand taxi lane, or aircraft stand taxi lane center line to object. These are all broken down depending on the code letter of the aircraft or the runway in use. We are going to look at the minimum separation distances provided by Annex 14 Table 3.1 for the various types of taxiway minimum separation distances required. We are starting with the taxiway to runway minimum separation distance. The minimum separation distance between taxiway center line and runway center line considers the type of aircraft operation being conducted. The type of operation could be either instrument or non-instrument. Using the aircraft code letter and the runway code number, one can determine from the standard table which minimum distance to apply. Sometimes other factors such as elevation or taxiway or runway and obstacle clearances may impact on the distances. Let's look at the table on the screen closely. You will see that from the left we have code letter, and the code letters are Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, and Foxtrot. Next to that we have instrument runways, which have their code numbers provided 1, 2, 3, and 4. After that, we also have the non-instrument runways, for which their code has also been provided 1, 2, 3, and 4. For you to decide which minimum separation distance applies, you must first know the critical aircraft that operates on the runway. So if the critical aircraft is a code C, then you must then factor in the code number of the runway, and that code number, if the runway is an instrument runway, will provide you with the necessary minimum separation distance. If that runway is a non-instrument runway, then the separation distance will also be determined under that column. So if you have a code 1A, an aerodrome reference code 1A, then your minimum separation distance for instrument runway will be 77.5, or for a non-instrument runway, that will be a 37.5 meters. If it is a code 3C, aerodrome reference code 3C, then your separation distance will be 158 for an instrument runway, 158 meters for instrument runway, or 93 meters for a non-instrument runway. If your aerodrome reference code is 3E, then you will have 172 meters for instrument runways and 107.5 meters for a non-instrument runway. If you are operating a code 4F aerodrome, then your minimum separation distance will be 180 meters or 150 meters, depending on the type of runway that you are operating in your aerodrome. Thank you for watching. Post your comments and questions. Subscribe and click the bell. Share with one and all, and hope you join us in our next presentation.